Welcome to another episode of Tamra Simon's Live and the Real Estate Power Chat. Today's guest is Brian Pruitt, who started out in the corporate world and ended up in real estate. Can't wait for you to hear his story, but as you know, first things first.
This is Tamra Simon's Live, where real estate agents from around the globe come together to grow, collaborate, and expand their business. Where we take our inspiring conversations and put them together to create dynamic connections. This is the Real Estate Power Chat.
Yay! Brian, we finally made it here. It took us a few weeks, but we finally made it.
You know, that was it. We're here for the big finale now. That was it. We had the ramp up before.
Well, thanks so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So where is Brian coming from today?
Brian is broadcasting live from Stuart, Florida, on the Treasure Coast of Florida, down in South Florida, just about 30 miles north of West Palm Beach.
Oh, nice. It's probably at least warm there.
We're having a cold snap, actually. It's about 72.
Yeah, I would take 72. Yeah, for sure. So, just so my audience can kind of get to know who Brian Pruitt is, let's give them a little backstory of how Brian kind of went from corporate world to real estate.
Okay. I was in corporate America working for Procter & Gamble, GE, and then Astra Pharmaceuticals, right as it was by itself first and then changed and merged with Zeneca and became AstraZeneca, the big giant that's out there now. And then left to take the corporate background and work in a little bit smaller to mid-sized businesses. I actually did go to work for the parent company of Allied Van Lines. And that was when I got my first kind of taste of real estate because we had a whole relocation arm. And I help people move their employees and their stuff all over the world. And with whatever that entailed of, I need a place where I can have X type school or X type medical care or X type scenario where my spouse or partner can work or something like that. So we did it A to Z, everything from visa and immigration to physically moving the people from point A to point B. And that's how I got interested. I left that last little bastion of, I guess, corporate world and went into I'd moved down to Florida and went into helping small businesses get from point A to point B. And one of them happened to be the big thing here is secondhand furniture, selling furniture that looks almost brand new because people change so much and Florida's transient. So I would meet a lot of real estate people doing that. And one of them actually said, you really get this business. You get us. You have the head for numbers. You've done that. You have the marketing and you listen. And that's what we do. We listen and we're kind of like coaches with people throughout this whole process called real estate. And I went, okay, that's kind of interesting. So looked into it a little bit more, went and passed the test, sat down and talked to different brokers and jumped in and here I am.
Wonderful. So how long have you actually been in real estate then?
I have been in real estate for 6.5 years, but I will say I've really been in real estate for about 4 years.
Nice.
Because I was grinding away with no direction for the first couple and then got to a place where everything clicked.
Right. So what was it that kind of motivated you to take it from those first 2 years where you really weren't really doing real estate, but you were doing it to the point that you're doing it now?
Well, in addition to having the innate desire to do this because I wanted to do it as a real deal, I'll be honest. My thing was it was back to the wall. I lost everything in 2008.
Mhm.
And so I was scrambling to get it back and scrambling to get it back. And I was doing the same things I was doing before, and really just was, even before, when I had it all, I was just really hollow inside and I didn't really have much. And so, I'm a firm believer that we cross paths with people in the situations that we need to be in at the time. And when I started real estate, it literally was about, this is the only way I can get back. I'm too old to really do anything else. This is the only thing I'm going to get back. But that didn't really serve me well. And so I was grinding and grinding and grinding, and there was no team or sense of direction. Everything, great company, love the people, but it was not a scenario where it was very collaborative. And I thought, I love this real estate thing, and there's got to be a different way of doing it. And so I started looking around and met my business partner and talked about it, and not only had the opportunity to learn everything about real estate, because that's what I was like, I'll pay part of my commission. I don't care. I just want to learn.
Right.
And I don't want to watch videos anymore. I want to get out and do it, but I need somebody to show, okay, this is maybe where you need to go, just a little bit over here instead of, and that was fine. The other thing was that, we are our team, we're a personal development team that just happens to sell real estate. And that's what I needed at the time, because I was at rock bottom and the only thing I wanted to do was check out. And I realized, very fortunately, that that wasn't my gig. And when I sat down for the first time, and I was 56, I sat down for the first time and asked myself, what is my purpose? And I had no idea. It was just to be successful before. And as I began thinking about it, my purpose was to help other people uncover theirs. And real estate's my vehicle to do that. And when I shifted this from, okay, I got to do HGTV style, to
Mhm.
how can I help other people? And in everything I do, how can I help somebody just move that needle just a little bit and make that person's day just a little bit better than it was? That's what I'm for. And this has been mind blowing, because it was like the doors open, and that is what. So I took my real estate career there by surrounding myself with the folks who said, "You want to learn? Great. We got it. We'll take you as high as you want to go." And I was very grateful for that.
Absolutely. I think, mindset and personal growth in real estate is a much needed essential to make it to where you're actually out there providing a service, not just for a commission, but you're out there to build those relationships.
Absolutely. And it's a long game.
It is.
And I'm in it for the long game. And the people coming back going, "Hey, thank you so much for enabling us to do this, or for helping me, or for doing whatever." Um, that lights me up inside. And I am just so tickled that I actually get paid for having fun and really working with people and doing what I love.
Well, and the relationships, I mean, it's not just through the transaction. You end up building these relationships that years down the line, you're still communicating with these people if you're doing it right. These people are
Absolutely.
still, having conversations with you and are excited to visit with you.
Absolutely, 100% agree with that. And the other thing is that it is very much a people business, and I've been very, very grateful of the people who call and say, you know what, I was on some forum on line, and somebody said, "Oh my gosh, if you're going here, you need to go talk to Brian. This is it." And I'd never met her, but she raved about you. And then and I'm like, "Wow, you live 20 states over. I mean, this is so cool that little old me gets picked out of here." But that's what it's all about. I thoroughly agree with you. We're in a people business, and we're helping people go from one step or one chapter to the next.
Absolutely. Well, and kind of to bring this full circle, how long have you been with EXP now?
Almost 4 years.
Oh, nice. Nice.
So that was my opening salvo, shall we say. That's when, that's when the band really got fired up, is, before the band was just in warm-up mode for 2 years, but then I went here, and the beautiful thing is it hasn't been cakewalk HGTV style. It's been tough. It's been learning. It's been leaving my ego behind and saying, I'm not too big or too old or too wise or too anything to learn something new and learn how to do it right. And it's supporting myself with all these great people whose first question is not, oh, can I tell you about me and how I've done this? But instead, what can I do to help you? And I never forget, one person said, Brian, I don't know, and it's insanely successful, by the way, it said, I don't know all the answers, but I do know what I've done that doesn't work. And I'll be glad to tell you that, so you don't have to fall over the same, trip over the same things I tripped over. And that has been, I mean, I literally am sitting here with goosebumps because that is just so cool. The 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 people, it's the people.
Well, and real estate is such a competitive field. I mean, you're going up against, the top producers, every single day. So it's such a new concept when you get with EXP that they don't look at you as competition. They're
Yes.
like, let's do this together.
And that, it still blows me away. It it just, the I mean, talking to my business partner Alex, and him saying, "What do you want to do?" And I was like, "Well, I really want to learn everything." And then this luxury thing is interesting to me, and him saying, "Okay, then let's get you there." And in my 4 years to be able to have done the luxury business that I've done, is just phenomenal. People wait. I mean, people wait years to be able to step into that. And
Mhm.
I stepped into it because I had people supporting my mindset of a house is a house. And, they're big ones, they're little ones, and they all are houses, and they all have different unique things. And it's a puzzle. And as a kid, I love puzzles. And that's what real estate is. It's helping put the right pieces together and helping put the puzzle together better.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now you talk, so you do a lot of the luxury market, correct?
I do a lot. It's interesting. I love luxury. And then another passion of mine is first time home buyers. I just love the light in someone's eyes. And one of my very first sales was someone who was it was his first home, and he had waited because his twin brother 5 years ago had an abominable experience, and he was like, I don't ever want to do that. I'd rather rent. And then finally realized, okay, I'm getting to the point where I'm in a career now, and I need to be making investments and everything else. And so we went through, and the light in his eyes when he found that house, it was so cool. And now he's come back and saying, hey, my company's transferring me overseas. Can you help me sell it? And it's the thing that you had said, it's relationship. It's building that relationship and then keeping it going.
Mhm.
And that I will have to say, one of my when I had a number of people I interviewed when I was looking at getting into real estate. One of the realtors is big in this area and in focused in luxury realty, and her business is all referral. She's been in 35 years. And she had said, she sat me down in her living room and said, okay, let's talk good, bad, and ugly about real estate. And we're going to start with the bad and ugly. And she went into how people take for granted very easily sometimes that, we're all in a business and we're all independent contractors, but they miss that together team kind of thing, even if they're working with different companies. And she said, Brian, one of the things that I'm big in about our business that a lot of people forget is you have two groups of clients, your buyers and sellers, and the other realtors you deal with. And you have to develop both groups equally, because you never know who's the person sitting across the table today will be sitting side by side with you, or you'll be working for that person. So always keep those relationships good. And I've done that. And that was one of my things, is to, in addition to developing my client base, I've really developed my realtor base. And it's amazing now that, my clients and I have won contracts where we weren't the top bid or the top thing, but they knew it was going from start to finish with no problem. They're like, oh, him and his team, they'll get it through. You need it done by that time. This is strong. Let's go with them. And we got it through without a hitch. And so that's the kind of thing, is to have those relationships built with everybody, because we, like you said, we all win. We all win. If everybody does better, we all do better.
Well, in real estate, I mean, you have a common goal, is to get your clients to the finish line. So
Absolutely.
if you're not communicating, and which I have seen in this market that we're coming out of, um, there was hardly any communication because, you would submit an offer and make a phone call or send a text message and couldn't get any response. At least that's the way it was in my market. And I mean, you would reach out and it didn't matter how many phone calls I would put out there. I just never, no one would pick up the phone.
And that's so true. And this same agent, and she's, I literally, I call her every year on my anniversary to thank her for all of her great advice when I was doing my due diligence. And one of the other things she said is, Brian, you'll represent one side of a transaction, someone else will represent the other side until there's a signature. Then you both represent the deal and you work for the deal. And that's, to your point, we're working to help someone reach the finish line and close. And that's why, even with everything going on, there were, I mean, 30, 40 offers, on properties over the past 2 years. You go to an open house and you'd sit in an open house and have 35, 40 offers to finish at the end of the day. And I still went through, and to each agent, dear so and so, I mean, 3:30 in the morning, but I did it. Thank you so much for bringing, and explained what was going on. And just because I knew that's just the way I do business. I mean, it's a
Yeah,
people business, and it's a cyclical thing. So I want to be, rocking with everybody in the tough times just as well as we're rocking together in the great times. And we can make the tougher times easier by getting tighter together and working together.
absolutely. Now, what would you say to a new agent that's just getting into this business? What is some advice that you would pass on to that person?
My first thing is to your point about mindset. Walk out the door not saying one day I'm going to be a great agent in ABC market, but I am the agent in ABC market. Now, that doesn't mean never learn anything. And it's just saying, I believe in me so much that I'm already there. I'm just going to kind of fill in the pieces along the way. Because when you start seeing yourself as that person, you become that person. And the second thing I would offer is learn everything you can, and in turn, teach others. Don't be afraid, because everybody, even though we're all on the same book, we're all at different chapters. So you can always be a leader to someone who's still a few pages behind you. And that's the kind of thing, is I've learned from brand new agents who come in with a perspective going something like, wow, I never thought about that. That's awesome. Just like the 30-year veterans who sit down and go, Brian, have you ever heard of a kick out clause? This is only my second time too in all my years here. Let me explain to you what that is. It's awesome. I mean, just so I remember that collaboration and that thing, and help others, and don't be afraid to jump in and roll your sleeves up, even if you're 5 days on the job, because you have something you're bringing to the table. But once you're in, go in all the way. Don't say, well, I'm going to kind of do real estate a little bit here. No, it's got to be this is me. This is what I'm doing. Boom, I'm here. let's make it happen, and go for it, because that belief will carry you through.
Absolutely. I think that's such imperative knowledge to put out there. Because it's something that you really have to have in real estate is thick skin, because it's not always a smooth ride in your transactions.
No, and it again, it is not HGTV. But the beautiful thing is that's what makes it so much fun. It's different. And I work with people who have bought 50 houses before, and one who this is their first one. And even for the people with 50, each one has been just a little bit different. So it's that kind of thing where we go in and it's like, how can I help somebody? How can I help put this puzzle together for you and get you there a little bit quicker?
Absolutely. So, just from talking with you, I would say that the collaboration part of EXP is something that really has helped you thrive in your business.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's not the, hey, give me a call and we'll talk about that. It's pulling you aside. How can I help you now?
Mhm.
And that kind of, uh, I was on a call where I was talking to another agent who was considering EXP, and somebody jumped in to help me who was not on my team and did not care, because we're all one EXP. And,
Yep.
it's like when all of us do great, the company does great. And it was getting the person with the experience necessary to get in front of this other person. And it turned out they knew people together. They were in totally different markets, but because of they were in high-end luxury, and so they knew a lot of people, and it was going back and forth. And being able to reach out and call on people to say, can you help? I don't know it all. I'd love to pull on your expertise, and have people sit down and say, sure, what do you want to know? It just blows me away. It just, I, I, I don't want to go, commercialize, but at our big meeting, somebody said, oh, it was great. Y'all were out in Las Vegas. I said, we could have been out in the middle of nowhere in a parking lot of McDonald's. It was the people, and the people who were walking around going, and finally being able to see, your Facebook friends that you'd known for 2 years but never got to meet. And then all of a sudden you meet them and they're like, oh my gosh, let's sit down and talk. And it's like old home week. And you walk back with new alliances, new ideas, better ways to do things that you would have paid thousands for in coaching. And
Mhm.
here's this big collaborative group going, let's all get together and help one another. Because you know what? There's room for all of us. And that's been my philosophy. And it's every day working in our market. I don't care what flag you fly, I'm going to help you if any way I can. Because we all do better. And somebody did that for me, and in turn I'm paying that forward.
That's awesome. I absolutely love that. So, one last question, and then I will let you get back to your busy day there in Florida that I'm jealous of 72-degree weather. Is what would you say you have learned from this game of life?
I've learned that I have much more than I thought. I've learned that when times get tough, I was always brought up as you do everything yourself, and strong people don't need other people. And what I have found is that in vulnerability lies great strength. And I've seen some of the strongest people I've ever met go, you know what? Once upon a time, I was living on a friend's sofa because I didn't have anywhere to go. And somebody believed in me enough to help me believe in myself, and therefore blah blah blah. And that was my own thing. It's like I did the work, but somebody came up to me and said, I'm going to hold you accountable, and I'm going to raise the bar just a little bit higher than you ever thought possible, because you know what, you can do it, but you got to decide, do you want to or will you commit to? If you'd like to do something that's totally different, then I'm committing to do it. And so I committed, and I committed full out, and I committed to play all out in life. This is a wonderful part of my life. It's just a part, though. I have a life too, and we all do. And we have to thrive in what we do. And my vehicle that I've chosen to help myself and others is real estate. So no matter what somebody chooses to do something that you love where you can reach out and give to other people, and do something that sets you on fire inside, because that inner fire is going to keep you going when the times look tough and everything else. That keeps you strong. And it's, if you are lighting your soul, man, there's no stopping any of us.
Wonderful advice. I love it. Thank you so much, Brian. I certainly appreciate your time today.
Thank you so much. This has been awesome. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And I will make sure that the audience has your contact information so that they can get in touch with you if they have referrals for Florida. And everybody,